That's perfect.
Okay. Okay. Hello, everybody. So welcome to our Nature-Based Solutions lunchtime talk. We are actually going to get straight into our talk this lunchtime because we're very busy lineup. But just to introduce myself, so my name is Ruth Guy McKeever. I'm the Community Water Officer in the Eastern and Midlands region. So I'm part of a bigger team there, and I'm with the Local Authorities Water Programme, which for short is LAWPRO. So you might hear that a bit today, LAWPRO. So that's the Local Authorities Water Programme. And so who we have, just to give you a quick lineup of who we have today. So hopefully it'll be really interesting to everybody. We have two speakers. So the first speaker, now he's late, but he will be attending later, is Fran Igo. So he's the regional coordinator with LAWPRO in the southeastern region. So he would have a lot of knowledge about nature-based solutions. So he's going to come later and he's going to give us a quick summary of that. Okay. Then we have Maya. So Maya's actually going to go first. Maya Grayston Field, sorry. She's the Deputy Country Coordinator with the GLOBE program. Okay, so she will be giving an overview of GLOBE and just the campaigns there that involve nature-based solutions and schools. And then fantastic, we have 6 schools attending today to present their work on nature-based solutions, so to present their project to us. I'll just give you a quick list of those schools. We have our first school is Brobbriggan Educate Together National School, so that will be a video that they'll be showing. Then it's Rockford Manor Senior Primary School, Dublin, St. Vincent Secondary School, Dundalk. We have Art School Namara, Waterford, Colossta Ignod, Galway, and Presentation Warrenmount Secondary School in Dublin. Okay, so they're the schools I'm going to be speaking today. We will share the presentations from today, so please feel free just to sit back and listen and don't worry about taking notes in any of the schools. We will share the work. So I hope that you enjoy the lunchtime talk, and I'm going to pass you on to Maya now, who's going to talk a bit about GLOBE. Okay, over to you, Maya.
Thanks so much, Ruth, and hello, everybody. It's great to be here, and I'm excited to have all you guys hear these great examples of what schools and students have been doing in the field of implementing nature-based solutions and also studying climate-related risks and how we can build resilience to weather and climate-related risks at a local setting. So GLOBE Ireland, if you don't know, we're an international citizen science education program. It's a NASA-supported program, but in Ireland, we're funded by the EPA and based in the An Taisce's Environmental Education Unit. We run a variety of different observation campaigns connected to understanding the state of our local environment. And we've been running these for over 4 years. And recently, we've launched 2 new climate-related observation campaigns that specifically link to helping students make observations about how weather is changing locally and how, based on their land cover and the types of dominant land cover around them, they might be more or less at risk of certain climate-related impacts from, for instance, rainfall-related flooding or heat wave-related risks. And so we've, in GLOBE Ireland, termed these projects the How Spongy is Your School initiative and the How Cool is Your School project. So these are 2 different projects that we've created based off of these scientist-developed protocols. We've selected a few specific atmosphere protocols like measuring rainfall or surface temperature and air temperature and cloud cover. And then we've added some of GLOBE's land cover observations to those to create a project bundle that we then have opened up for schools from all over Ireland to participate in. They register for our campaigns, and then we send out an equipment package that includes all the equipment they need to make the observations, as well as a variety of resources on resilience and adaptation and how we can place nature-based solutions on school grounds. And then we challenge the schools to design their own ideas for how to make their own schools more resilient to some of these impacts, whether that's rainfall related flooding or if it's heat wave related risks. And then the schools and teachers have taken these resources and turned them into some quite impressive projects. We invited the schools to listen to experts in the field. So they've had a chance to hear from university experts, meteorologists, local authorities, people like Fran Igo from LAWPRO and the LAWPRO team who know a lot about these topics. So they really could hear from the people who are working with these challenges before they then presented their own ideas to a group of experts, and then the group of experts gave them additional advice and additional feedback. We launched these two pilot projects last year in 2023 for just a cohort of 50 schools. And out of those 50 schools, really happy that LAWPRO and CARO, they pledged to provide €500 grants to some of the outstanding projects. And these schools that are presenting here today are some of those schools and students who created those projects that won those €500 grants. And they have now been able to do this work to take their ideas, their scientific observations, their designs into reality. So that's what we're really here today, is to hear how that went, what they learned from it, what it looks like now. And then from a Globe Ireland perspective, I suppose where we're at now is that we've expanded these two projects this year. We were able to include 40 extra schools in our project. So that means that we've had 80 schools investigating these two different projects this year. And we're delighted to have had LAWPRO again pledge to give these €500 grants to some of the outstanding school projects. So we're very excited to see the development of these projects and have them continue over the next few years. The How Spongy is Your School project is one that runs in January. Specifically, we invite students to observe rainfall, and then they compare those rainfall patterns over time. From a Globe Ireland perspective, what we're doing here is we're providing the bundles of equipment, the material, and then we're providing opportunities for the schools to learn from each other, learn from experts, and compare their data as well on a national scale. So what does it look like in practice? I want to show you guys a video from one of our 2024 Junior How Spongy is Your School project winners. This is Balbriggan and Educate Together in Fingal County Council. So they took part in this year's How Spongy is Your School project, and they've created some videos to show what they did and how they developed their ideas. So you'll have to let me know now if you can't hear or see the video playing. Hopefully you will. So let's go ahead and see how this works.
For the first 2 weeks, it was cold and dry. For the last 2 weeks, we had 2 storms, Storm Aisha and Storm Jocelyn. This storm brought 24.6 millimeters of rain and lots of wind.
That's 24.6 meters squared onto our school. All the rain from Storm Aisha brought puddles to our school. We had fun with the puddles.
We did our surfaces of tarmac, pavement, concrete, grass.
So what are you doing there, Sad?
So we put
splashing water on the concrete.
Concrete. Perfect.
Which
Yeah.
direction it goes.
Yeah.
Water goes through sand quickly. Water does not go through soil quickly. Words to the rescue with our spongy test of our warm compost. We found that it absorbed all the 1 liter of water. The concrete did not absorb the 1 liter of water. It is not spongy. We have decided to place worm mulch under our trees. This will absorb lots of water and we will be a spongy school. Yeah!
Okay, so let's go ahead and check out how it went. They're still implementing new spongy school ideas. All right, so that is our example here from Balbriggan Educate Together National School, who are still on their journey of implementing new ideas and also preserving spaces that already are there to make their school more permeable. From this example, we're going to move over to the secondary schools, and I'm going to let Ruth go ahead and take the word to introduce our next speakers.
Okay, thanks a lot, Maya. That was fantastic. It's great to see all the work and hear about the GLOBE program. So thank you so much for that. So the next school that we have is Rockford Manor Secondary School. So we have Abby, Alisa, Ali, and Maddie. And these were last year's overall Globe Ireland winners. And this year won another award for their creativity and sustainable thinking in implementing their nature-based solutions, SUDS, on school grounds and excellent in science communication. So I'm looking forward to this one. So over to you, Rockford Manor.
Hi everyone, my name is Elisa. My name is Abby. I'm Lisa. I'm Melanie. And we are students from Rockford Manor Secondary School, and today we'll be talking to you about our rainfall resilience and project and our nature-based solutions. Our aim for this project was to measure our local rainfall and to assess our school's resilience and to implement nature-based sustainable drainage solutions in our school. Our methods of this project were to map out our school grounds to assess the permeability of all surfaces and to measure rainfall and the pH and to assess our risk of flooding and to develop nature-based sustainable water drainage solutions to slow the flow and to better utilize the rainwater that falls in our school. Here's a map that we made of our school, where we were able to learn that 61% of our school grounds were permeable, while 39% of the school grounds were not permeable. The first thing we did was set up our rain gauge in Globe Ireland. We then monitored the rainfall every day and reported the pH as well. And we set it up in an open location, make sure it got the most accurate results. One of the first things we did was observe, here's a bar chart of our data. So as you can see, the blue is our data from this year. The orange is the data from last year. The grey is from the Phoenix Park weather station and the yellow is from the Belmullet weather station. One of the first things we did was observe our school grounds. We went outside on the rainy days to check if flooding had occurred. Some of the drains were blocked and there was large puddles in the car park. We also observed water pooling on the flat roof of our school.
So here we have a graph from Dory and Jamie from NASA. She managed to get 20 years of rainfall data that have been recorded at Oakwood Manor. We can see an uphill trend in the amount of precipitation falling, which indicates to us that climate change is occurring and it is affecting us at Rockford. So then we asked ourselves, how can we slow the flow and improve our resilience to flooding in a sustainable way? We created our action plan. So we took inspiration from a number of places, namely the Rediscovery Centre, Gardening for Biodiversity, as well as informative talks we had at our school. So we got information from Antoshka as well, and we got a booklet from Dublin City Council about how to make a rain planter, and we have implemented that on our school grounds. So,
yep, we've implemented many nature-based solutions in our school, including micro pond, rainwater butt, and rain planters. Our micro pond, we used an old barrel and dug a hole to build our pond. We used water from our rainwater butt to fill it and made steps with rocks for animals to use. We also put in oxygenating plants such as pondweed. Another one of our solutions was a rain planter, and we made it from an upcycled bathtub, and we diverted water from the rain downpipe to water the plants and slow the flow of rain. We got a grant to build a pathway around our school that
So we got a grant for our pathway, which was our main nature-based water drainage solution that we wanted to put in place. Recently, we also planted 50 native trees around the pathway, increasing our biodiversity as well as our air quality around the school. So we want some other things as well. We want more rainwater butts to hopefully flush all of our toilets in school with that, as it would greatly help. And then we also want to put in a planter on our school roof, as that has been prone to flooding and has flooded a number of times in the last 6 months. So how did we engage our school and community? We engaged our school and community by having the board, which you can see on the screen there, by the entrance, as well as making announcements when big updates happen, such as when our path was completed, as well as when the rain planter was installed. We also presented at the annual Globe Assembly in Czech Republic in May of last year, as well as participating in citizen science projects and uploading to Instagram as well as the ECCA conference last year.
So in our concluded, we found 61% of our school ground was spongy and 39% was non-spongy. So far, we currently have rain planters, water butts, a new pathway, and microphone. And we'll have to implement more nature-based water drainage solutions in the next year to come. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, guys. That was fantastic. We're going to hold off for questions until the end. So if you guys hopefully are able to stick around for some questions at the end, that'd be great. If there's any in the meantime, Cathal will point them out and we'll direct them to specific schools. But thank you so much. It's amazing to see what you were able to do in such a short space of time, and congratulations on all your hard work. So thank you.
I just want to add one thing before you go to the next ones as well. For those listening, is that these girls made a really cool instructional how-to video on how they made their rain garden planter. So highly recommend checking that out. We'll make sure to send that in the resources after. If any schools want to replicate what they did, they really kind of broke down the steps. So well done, girls.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thanks, Maya. Yeah, and please remind us about anything else to do with the other schools as they come up. Okay, that's great. So we'll go on to our next school, which is St. Vincent's Secondary School, Dundalk. Do we have them here, Maya? Yeah? Yeah? Okay. So I will actually just I'll just give a quick introduction to the school before you guys get started. I can see your dying there to get started. Just give a quick introduction. Yeah, so the students won this year's overall Globe Ireland Senior Project Submission Award for excellence in science communication, creative project sharing, meaningful community engagement, and actions implemented. So well done, guys. And I'll pass over to yourselves.
Good morning, everyone. I am Katie, and I'm going to introduce you to how St. Vincent's Secondary School began working with Globe Ireland to write the study of how cool is your school and how spongy is your school research. How we got involved. As a part of our junior cycle geography curriculum, we studied many elements of the natural and built world, including climate, weather, and settlement. This is usually a very theory-based experience. Thanks to our involvement with Globe Ireland, we had the opportunity to put theory into practice and participate in active data collection and research. The context of our school. We are an urban-based school in Dundalk on the east coast of Ireland. We are quite limited to terms of open space, especially green and blue spaces. The dominant surface types in our school are concrete and tarmac. The Castletine River runs to the north of our school and the ramparts to the south. Our participation in Globe gave us greater awareness of the physical environment around us and how we interact with it daily. Theories investigated. So this is an overview of our school campus. The main surface type is tarmac and we have limited grass cover. The colour dots indicate where areas surface permeability tests were conducted. The green crisscross areas indicate where surface temperature measurements were conducted. I'll now pass you on to Sophia.
Thank you, Katie. We have all become very aware of the climate challenges we are facing. With increasing global temperatures, urban areas are at a greater risk of becoming less comfortable for human activity during summer months or winter events. Thankfully, students learned that there are simple ways of reducing this effect that involves introducing nature-based solutions. By introducing more green spaces such as urban gardens, wall planters, mini ponds, rainwater gardens, water features, and white surfaces, the urban heat island effect is reduced and flood resistance improved. Lessons learned. As a result of our research, we learned that the limited green and blue spaces on our school campus will contribute to the urban heat island effect within our school. There will be an increased competition for the cooler spaces within our school grounds and surrounding areas during warm weather events. Urban schools and businesses are at a greater risk of the negative impacts of urban heat island effects. Lessons learned. We have learned that some areas of Dundalk town and its surrounding areas are at a greater risk of flooding than others. During the surface permeability test, the grass surface was naturally best at absorbing water, whereas concrete and tarmac experienced surface runoff. We now realise the importance of spongy surfaces to help reduce the amount of surface runoff. This will in turn reduce the risk of flooding. A shared understanding. The combined efforts of both class groups has greatly enhanced our understanding of how natural processes and system interacts and influence the built environment. We will now discuss nature-based solutions and the benefits they provide in tackling surface heating and improving surface runoff. In the image shown, you can see some of the improvements we would like to introduce. So I'll now pass you over to Laura.
Thank you. St. Vincent's has already begun to introduce nature-based solutions and improve our school campus. Using the LAWPRO prize money of €500, we began to introduce nature-based solutions. After discussing the school development plans with our school caretaker, we needed to find an area that would remain after the new school development. We felt this area would be a perfect place to locate our nature-based sensory garden. This is an area of unused space that was out of bounds to students. We felt it had real potential. The process. We walked around the area, took pictures, and began the design process for the garden designs. Each design included elements of space we had viewed and aimed to improve the flora and fauna of the space. As you can see, we have made great progress introducing nature-based solutions into our sensory garden. For example, the Bee and Bud Hotel, the waterfall feature to reduce heating, and a native wildflower planted rooftop which encourages biodiversity and adds a cooling effect. I'll now pass you on to Rebecca.
Thank you. So while we've a lot done, there's a lot more we can do. Future nature-based solutions. In phase 2, we would like to include rain garden planters. Rain garden planters, which would help reuse water, reduce surface water pooling, and add an attractive feature to the school. Future nature-based solutions. Rain gardens can help reuse water. They add an attractive, colourful feature to the garden or space. Rain gardens help keep local rivers clean. Once water collects in the rain garden, infiltration may take up to 48 hours after a major rainfall. Why rain gardens are suitable for Cementons. Rain gardens are very suitable for Cementons. Currently, we are under getting a new building and some classrooms like our music room are getting renovated. This means that we need something portable like rain gardens. Rain gardens are something our school can get quickly, and this will be a benefit as soon as we get them up. They could be used before, during, and after the school development. Cementons has a lot of puddles in our car park, so we think it would benefit very much for rain gardens. Future nature-based solutions. What we have learned from our SWOT analysis is a benefit of rain gardens filter stormwater before it hits local waterways. And a weakness is most rain gardens are relatively small since construction and maintenance of large rain gardens becomes difficult. Future nature-based solutions. There are some areas in our school campus where we would like to position our rain garden planters. We would like ones near the music room where pooling of water occurs. We are excited to begin this next phase and hope it will help reduce the issues of surface runoff and have a positive impact on our surface heating. Thank you for listening.
Wow, thank you so much, guys. I've seen that image before of the change that you made in your school, and it's just so impressive. So congratulations on all that work that you guys carried out. It's really mind-blowing. Do you have anything else that you wanted to add there, Maya, before we go on to Fran?
I think just I want to highlight in this example that these students have combined 2 studies that they've done over 2 years, or over almost a year now, a little over a year, and done it in a very, it's a difficult thing to think about 2 different climate risks and think about how these solutions have multiple benefits. So I just want to highlight that this is really, really impressive and well done.
Thank you, guys. And as I said, we'll have questions towards the end. So I really appreciate you speaking and sharing your work with us. I'm actually just going to put a pause on the school presentations there for a second. So apologies, Art School Namara, you'll go after our next speaker. So actually we have Fran Igo, who I said would speak to us about nature-based solutions. So he's the regional coordinator with LAWPRO in the Southeast region. So I'm going to just invite Fran to speak for a short talk about nature-based solutions. Thank you.
Hello, Ruth. Hello, everybody. It's great to be here, and my apologies, I'm late. I was actually stuck in traffic in Dublin in Windmill Lane. I was at a green building, the Irish Green Building Council this morning. I'm here on Keepack farm now in County Meath. Ruth, I'm hotspotting off somebody's phone because we couldn't get through the wireless. So if there's a problem, I'll just talk and not share the slides, but we'll try this first. And then if it doesn't work out, I can just have a quick chat, which is all instead. Is that sharing? Brilliant. Okay, look, a big shout out to the guys up in Dundalk. Well done last week. Fantastic presentations you gave at our Nature-Based Solutions Conference. And Maya, hello, how's it going? Good to see you again. We had lovely feedback from all the delegates. The Dutch delegates actually asked, would Dundalk be interested in teaming up with schools in the Netherlands? So maybe that's something we can have a chat about later to show all the excellent you're doing. So, okay, I have a few slides here. Just I work with my colleagues here in the local authority waters program, working with all the different agencies, and but just to give a context, it's always good for us to remind ourselves of why we're doing this. Guys, slowing the flow, spongy cities help with change and help with water. And I guess that's why you guys are doing what you're doing. You're playing your part along with everybody else to try and help, address climate change, adapt, and also to address pollution, whether it's in the urban area, in the towns and the villages, in the cities, or in the rural landscape. So it's very important you guys are part of all the work we do. So we're delighted to be here. And look, in Ireland, we're very lucky. No matter where you live in Ireland, there's lots of wildlife. We've much cooler wildlife than we have, for example, in Denmark. Isn't that right, Maya? Yeah. And in other countries in Europe, they get very excited about stuff that we take for granted. And we have some very, very important special species that, wildlife that need very clean water to survive. That's why we get this right. You guys have probably done this with Maya. The more hard surfaces we have, the more roads, the more tarmac, the more concrete, the faster the water runs off, compared to, say, a field. So in a green field, out in the countryside, most of the water will soak through the ground. But once you start to increase the roadways and that, it becomes more and more difficult for the water to soak, and it runs off faster. And that becomes a problem then when we have rainfall and we have climate change. And in the urban areas, even in villages, sometimes the pipes that take the rainwater are also shared with pipes that take sewage. And this is really important because some of these are old pipes that were left over since many years ago. And what can happen now is that if you get too much rainwater going through those pipes, the water will either make the water treatment plants very difficult to operate, or they'll just bypass them, to go around them and straight into the river. So that's a problem. So we want to reduce the flow into these pipes. Okay. And what kind of stuff do we get in the water on the surface of roads in particular? It can be quite toxic. You can have spillages, but also the rubber from the cars, the car batteries, heavy metals, different types of hydrocarbons. So different types of the fuel, think about it, and even the window washers. So these photographs, that photograph there, for example, is down in Wexford. That's after started to rain, and you can see the suds there. So this is quite an issue across the country, and we know from research in America that these chemicals can be very toxic for fish and for other aquatic life, including ourselves. So the way we approach this is what's called SUDS, Sustainable Urban Drainage Systems, and we look at the water quantity for flooding, the water quality for in terms of keeping the water clean from pollution, amenity. A lot of the features that you guys are doing, the spongy stuff, the rain gardens, they can be quite pretty, so from an amenity point of view. And of course, they're good for bees and bugs and whatnot, for biodiversity. And of course, by putting them in, you're protecting the biodiversity in the rivers and the streams, in the lakes and along the coast. And now climate change, of course, they help. Climate change, some of these, suck out carbon or sequester carbon, and some of them are climate adaptation measures. In other words, they slow the flow. And also in drought periods, dry weather, they hold the water back and then release the water slowly. So it works on both ends. So again, you probably are familiar with some of these, but they operate at different levels and scales. So for example, in your school, the forest grass, for example, or the rain garden. And then at the bigger scale, say in a town, you might allow the river flood out onto a park, green roofs, put green roof on top of a, for example. And then out in the countryside, we work with the agriculture sector to look at, the landscape of farms, the tillage, beef, dairy, whatever, and forestry, and make the whole thing as part of a nature-based solution to everything in terms of water quality and climate change. Here's some simple examples. This is where I live, up the road. The community group there put in a swale to take the water coming off the park there. Now see the brown grass in the drain there. That's not a good idea. They've stopped doing that because they were treating it with herbicide. They were spraying it, so that's no. So better off to trim it or cut it with hedge clippers or mower. So we don't encourage pesticides, because pesticides near water is a problem. And it's the same if you're spraying tillage crops, for example. You want to make sure that you keep your sprayers away from the river, and that's the type of stuff that we do. So this is an example. I think it's from America, actually. You can see the water coming in off the road into the rain garden, and those plants will suck out the pollutants and the plastics. And then if it fills up, it can go into that shore and then into the ordinary drainage network. So these things, we can build them on to the existing networks. And then if you look underground, how did it work? It's the little bugs that live underground that do most of the work here. So the microbes, the bacteria, the different organisms, they break down some of these very complicated chemicals into much more safer components. And that's why these are so impactful. So it's very simple technology. We just use nature, let nature do the work, and then treats the system. And that's the background. We can do lots of cool stuff. So I know the guys up in Dundalk, you guys put in a green roof there in one of your buildings, which is fantastic to see. Anywhere you have a sloped roof that's not too sloped, or a green roof, or sorry, flat roof, you can put the stuff on. And any of you guys who are in an older school, in the older schools, they tend to be very strong in terms of they can carry a lot of weight. So you could probably do a lot more with your green roof. You could do some cool stuff like build in, bring up stones and, gravel and whatever, and try and copy what's, in your local landscape and design it for biodiversity, design it for wildlife. So there's different techniques you can do, and you can be very creative around this stuff. And even along the roads, we talk to engineers and ask them to, rather than putting in concrete barriers, can we use nature as a barrier to manage traffic flow, the movement of traffic, but also obviously to take the water for the road. So these things can have multiple functions, and that's what we're encouraging. So we're working with planners, with engineers, with designers, and that's, for example, where I was this morning to work with the people who make the stuff. And then last week we had different agencies all meeting up and looking at what can be done, examples internationally from different countries can we learn, and then try that. So you guys, it's a great way to learn this stuff, and it's a great way to, I suppose, the best way to learn is by actively doing it. So you guys, by doing this in your schools, working with the Globe, and with Maya and Ruth and everybody else, it's a great way for you guys to get your hands dirty and learn this. And when you go out, if you want to do science through the STEM or whatever, go to university if that's what you want to do, or go and get a trade. You have first-hand experience now, and it will stand to you, believe me. Now, back to the examples here. This is a roundabout in Tipperary. You can see it's a big roundabout where they put in the pollinators, the wildflowers. And every year now, the birds come in. So these are goldfinches, and they use this as a habitat. So you got 60 or 70 of these birds in a flock, and they fly between the farm fields and into here, feeding on the seeds on the plants. This is here from Dublin. This is a detention basin. So the water now it runs into these features that are designed. They look like they're natural forests, but they're actually depressions in the ground. And when you get a lot of rain, they fill up and they flow the water. And also they suck out those pollutants that I talked about. This is another example. This is what we call a swale. This is another example. This is what we call a wet swale. So there's always water in it. So there's different types of techniques you can use for different situations. And again, we can be creative so that, it's a bit of fun. So everything doesn't look the same. You don't have to have everything looking the same. You can mix it up. This, for example, is one, and a big one. This is very big. The picture doesn't do it justice down in Cork. And here, it's in the autumn time. That's why it doesn't look so pretty. But that's is a fantastic wildlife habitat for wildlife, and it takes the water coming off the service, the roads, as part of a landfill site for County Waterford. And one of the things I guess is for them to be aware of is that sometimes the features don't all look beautiful, especially in the autumn time. If if you want to let them go to seed, because the birds like the seeds, we're used to kind of planting plants and then taking them out when the flowers stop. But with the nature-based solutions, you want to work with nature more. So that's where you guys can maybe explain it to your parents and to your your relations and your friends that it's important we leave these things and don't try and manage them the same way as you might a flower bed, where you're just going to plant flowers that look pretty and then take them out after a few weeks. That's not very sustainable anyhow. Here's an example outside of church in Clonmel, and a very simple one here. They just put in a flower bed, and that takes all the runoff from the hard surface, from the footpaths and the whole area around the church and the roof, and it just runs straight into that flower bed. And there's very little management in that, and that's good for the pollinators and it's good for nature. Here's an example from Wales. Here you can see the water going in from those two gaps on the road, and the water that soaks through the area there where the plants are growing into a pipe. And if it gets too high, then it goes into an overflow pipe. So it's important that you design these things right. So in other words, you have to make sure that you put them in the right place. So where the water's flowing, so figure out where the water's flowing, and then you put them in, because otherwise you can put them in the wrong place. And we've seen that happen as well. So just design a bit of thought, think about where the water's flowing. Another example here in Wales, and you can see where the gap is there and the water goes there. And they've designed this so that the camber of the slope or the slope of the ground goes straight in. So you can do this easily in any of your schools. And you can see this one here been built again. This is over in the United States. You can see the gravel in the center. So these are more complicated ones because they're taking much bigger volumes of water. So you can scale them up at different scales. So in the school, you may do a number of different small features, and then in the town, maybe if you can encourage if you know anybody working in the county council or who has an interest in the tidy towns or in planning, you know, you can link up the ideas. So you have lots of different nature-based solutions in the town. And that's what we're really looking for, is impact. The more of these, the better, because they operate together. Often we find in Ireland, we miss the opportunity. You know, we put in the grass, we put in the trees, we miss the opportunity to get the water in. And here's some examples here where they put in the grass, they planted the trees, but the water doesn't go in. So every year now during the hot weather, somebody has to go around with a watering can and water all those plants. When in fact, if they were actually connected to the drainage, most of the water will be done just by the rain. Here's another example here. You can see the shore right beside the feature, where you can see on the green area there, it gets no benefit from the rainwater because rainwater is bypassing it. So you want to avoid that. And ideally think about the water across the landscape. And I know Maya's done this with you, you know, in terms of how spongy is your school, looking at where the water might travel and land on your school after it leaves the sky. It's very simple. Just follow the water and it'll tell you, nature will tell you. And then you can put in your solutions depending what they are. So if it's on high ground, like on a hill, you might put in a green roof. If it's at the end of a hill, you might decide to put in a pond, you know? So that's simple. And then again, as I said, link them up. The more the merrier, you know, because what we're trying to do really is replicate what happens in nature. So if you think about it in the countryside, you have mountains, bogs, fields, rivers, streams, and they all link up. So we're trying to do the same thing in the urban area. That's what it's all really about. And
sorry, Fran, we just have 1 more minute, if that's okay.
I'm done now. So we have worked with the guys. So reach out to us in LAWPRO, and when you guys leave school, don't leave this behind you. Continue on and stay connected, and work with community groups, work yourselves to try and do this. And if you're in a farming background, you know, link from that point of view. You might have a shed or a farmyard, or you might be in a community group, whatever. And if you're in the town, work with us through the tight towns or with the council and so on. There's lots of cool stuff we can do, lads. And you can build stuff for nature, swift boxes and bat boxes and barn owl boxes and all the other stuff, and take a nature-based or take an invasive species. So there's a whole load of things you can do. I'm going to finish with this now, Ruth. Here's a lovely example outside a farm in North Cork, in Ireland Hollow. They put in a wetland, and we do this with the farmers to treat soil water. The wetland went in 2014, I think it was. Following year, you can see the lovely damselflies came in. Then the following year, the dragonflies came in. And then 2 years ago, the smooth newts came in. Before that, that was just a piece of grass. And now you have all this biodiversity. And this year, and there was little baby water hens nesting. Water hens nesting and little baby chicks also, I was going to say swimming around, flapping around, whatever they do, baby chicks. So it's really nice. So we can do all this together. It should be fun and design it, you know, together. And I know you guys are doing it. So I just want to say, guys, well done. This is for everybody. It makes for nicer places to live, and you know this yourselves. And then for us, we try and upscale it and do the same stuff across the different villages and for human, you know, for walks and cycleways and that, for the public good and the community, but also remember for the wildlife. By doing this, we protect all those rare species that I talked about and fishing and all the other stuff. So look, in conclusion, I'm done, Ruth. I'm in under the minute, I hope. These things can provide many, many benefits. And that's why we're trying to, you know, get the word out there. Having you guys do what you're doing is absolutely fantastic. And like for us to be able to showcase the examples is brilliant. Having fun designing them is really cool. And I mean, the Dutch, who are ahead of us in this stuff, they were so impressed, guys, about the work that you've done up in Dundalk. And I know there's lots of work going on across the country. So maybe we could link up, Maya, and see if there's a potential there to do maybe a bit of exchange. They were very excited about it anyhow, so that's very impressive. So if the Dutch are impressed, stuff, it means we're getting something right. Okay, so look, I think I better finish there. So guys, thanks very much. And again, I'm sorry I'm late. I had an excuse, but I know it's not a great excuse. If you know, your teacher might be cross with me now, but anyhow, look, thanks for having me, and well done, everybody. Cheers.
Okay, thank you so much, Fran. There's a lot of information there, and it's great now that we have this recorded, so we can look back at this afterwards. I will move on, and if anybody has questions for Fran at the end, you know, you can ask them, and our colleagues can try and answer any questions you have in the chat box now as well. So I'm just going to go straight to the next school, So we have, now correct me if I'm wrong, Maya, we have our school Namara, Waterford, who's speaking next. Last year's EU Connects Us winners, these students took their January 23 rainfall and flooding observations to the next level. So I'm looking forward to hearing your presentation. So over to you guys.
Hello and good afternoon. I hope everyone's doing well. My name is Michelle and here with me is Valerie, Grace and Diana. And we're here today just to give you an update and kind of a follow-up of our progress so far with the money we received from Globe Ireland that took earlier on this year. So far, we have implemented some nature-based solutions, and the most important two, and the two I'll be mentioning today, is the mural and pond that we have in place. So this pond is one of our nature-based solutions because earlier on this year, we had discovered that there was pooling occurring near the front areas of our school due to the landscape and some other things causing the water to build up amongst kind of the areas around the school, just near the front. And the rainfall data that we collected and other preparations is when we decided to have the pond in place. This was originally planned out with our 3D model of our school, where we initially wanted the rainfall that we get here to be used in a more efficient and less kind of wasteful way. So firstly, our pond, which we dug out ourselves, and our local firefighters who generously filled it up with water for us. And from there, we added gravel to the bottom to make sure our insects, like butterflies and bees, can get a drink of water. And this also helps clarify the water. I just want to mention the mural too, and my friend Valerie will be continuing on talking about the progress we've seen with these new solutions. So with the mural, which includes a variety of wildflowers, bees, and moths, it's one of the visual implementations that we've added to our school. As you can see there, it is presented near the front of our school, and this is painted by the Waterford walls. And this has brought a very visual and warm look to our school, which emphasizes the importance of the pollinators and the recognition of these wildflowers displayed too.
So hello and good afternoon. My name is Barry, and first of all, I'll be giving you a quick update on the progress that we made of our new pond and the new mural that we had recently added as a part of our project of the nature-based solutions. And it links to our other projects called the Spongy School as well. Firstly, I just want to thank you for the amazing sum of €500 that you have gratefully funded and provided just for our school and other schools as well. Fortunately, this €500 finally enabled our school's sustainability group and school's community to implement a pond. The pond has been developing gradually at a steady pace, but slowly accelerating since Christmas to spring and now summer. We discovered that the pond became a little ecosystem of its own, in which we expected, creating life and habitat for the surrounding biodiversity. The excellent thing is that we started to spot different creatures living inside or near it. For example, just a week ago, we spotted water skiers on top of the pond, diving beetles in which we found near the shallow areas of the gravel and stones, and even some birds occasionally visiting to get a drink or even bathe, which is just so adorable. To allow easy access for the birds, on one side of the pond, there is a small slope made from rocks and gravel. This helps any of the biodiversity or even for the future frogs that will be having any difficulties. This pond had helped decrease the amount of pooling that would have been created, helping to prevent runoffs from heavier rain so that our sewers and drains will not be overfilled, making life easier for everyone and sustainable. Besides that, it actually has been really interesting and cool to be near the pond and just think how quickly it has developed so far. But mentally, I feel like even just looking through the light microscope to see if there is anything else in the waters, which is just a bit of algae, it has also helped mentally just a bit, as it puts your mind off about the junior cert that we soon have. So yeah, it is nice. Anyways, on top of that, we don't just have an amazing pond. We are proud to say that, to the least, that we have achieved to get Waterford Walls to take part in our helping to create a beautiful mural designed in the front of our school by a talented artist named Juliette Verde, who took her time and effort to paint for us. Not only is it just a lovely display of bright colors, it also gives a sense of community. And the mural had also given a sense of appreciation and also had raised awareness for these lesser-known species who no doubt are still important towards biodiversity to help thrive. We've seen that it served as a huge inspiration for others such as students, parents, staff, BAM staff, and teachers, but of course, people who visited our school as well. Thank you for your time. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys, for presenting your work. That is amazing. And I just love that you highlighted the other benefits to installing nature-based solutions, that it was good for your mental health. So I think that's fantastic result. If there's anything else, Maya, that you wanted to add based on their presentation?
I'm just so impressed and amazed as well. Like this is just a huge pond, right? You guys have really found some space, and I know logistically this was challenging from a kind of a safety perspective. I know there was some pushback from the school, so I just want to commend you guys for your persistence and for really driving through this, making sure it happened. So yeah, well done on that front as well.
Okay, well, thank you so much, guys. And if you can stay for a question afterwards, that would be great. And so we're going to move on to our next school. So we have Coláiste Ignod Galway, and the third years there completed a fantastic repeat study of their school, investigating how prepared their school surfaces are for heat wave related climate risks for the globe. How cool is your school study? This year, the third year students took up the mantle and decided to carry forward the implementation of some very ambitious and impressive solutions. I personally am very inspired by what they have managed to achieve. Okay, over to you guys.
Sorry, how do we change the slide?
I'll change them for you.
Okay.
So I'll listen up and you tell me if I'm too slow.
Okay. So yeah, hi, I'm Sean and this is Adam. And yeah, we're presenting our globe surface temperature project this year. So yeah.
So firstly, we drawn a very poorly to scale map of our school. As you can see, we have a large green area, which didn't need many touching. So we decided to put more of our focus towards the school and how we can improve the school for environmentally friendly issues or environmental issues. We decided to place our solution in the circled area previously shown on the slides in our Griffin building.
Yep. So yeah, in the next slide, yes, so basically we measured 6 different surfaces using our thermometer, and we over a period of five different days, we did stone, concrete, red brick, grass, glass, and tarmac. So yeah, in the next slide, we found out eventually that to implement a solution, we couldn't really work with grass, and yes, we couldn't really work with tarmac because it was on the ground. So we decided to focus on construction materials. So in the next slide here, sorry, in the one after that, sorry. Yeah, tarmac emitted the most heat throughout the day, and which is 10.4 degrees, and glass also emitted the second largest amount. But we found out, yeah, that red brick it was the building material that emitted the most heat, because unlike glass, you know, we didn't want to block the glass windows, and also we didn't want to really interfere with the tarmac on the ground. So in the next slide,
we found our solution, which is the clematis, which we were tied down to the building using hooks and line. This would train the clematis to grow in a specific pattern as not to interrupt the glass as shown on the building or seep into the concrete. We chose that location as it would interfere with cars otherwise, and it was the best solution altogether. Yeah, this is our solution at current time. We just planted it a couple of weeks ago, and it's still fairly new, so it's just developing along the hook. And we place stones on top of the soil as not to dry out the plant, and over time we will need to water it a little less more so we can continue with our school life while also the plant thrives. Our success criteria is that after a couple of weeks we will come back with the thermometer and see if there's been any change in the temperature and if it's decreased the school temperature as a result. The issues we considered was that earlier in our experiment, we wanted to use wisteria due to its color and similar effects. But later we found out that the wisteria would bloom only in summertime, which the students would not be in the school, so it wouldn't have really any effect towards them. So we decided to settle towards clematis, which had a similar appearance and similar effects. And overall, it would not dig into the brick, damaging the walls.
So yeah, these are our future plans now that we've completed the climbers. So we have a few issues here. Firstly, there's a general lack of biodiversity around our school. It's mostly tarmac, and the field is mainly used for like Gaelic and like rugby training. And there's also wasted land. In the map earlier, there's this so-called urban garden, but it's not really used for anything. Yeah, and littering is a problem. So we decided to focus on the urban garden. It was intended as an unsupervised area of the school, and it was supposed to be a place where students go and relax and stuff. But unfortunately, it's just left there, and like plants are overgrowing, and it's just an empty area where no one goes to. So we plan to create a pond.
We believe that the plant will not only increase the amount of students going to this desecrated area, but we also believe it will bring back biodiversity into the area, allowing multiple flora and fauna to go to the area along with the students. And it will act as its intended purpose, where students can go to look in the pond. The pond will provide cooling to the area, and they go there to relax. It will also go to maintaining the upkeep, as a pond needs to be maintained regularly, and this will make sure that the urban garden does not go into a state of disrepair again. Oh. And finally, we would like to thank LAWPRO for giving us the grant to implement the clematis, as without the grant, we wouldn't be able to do this solution or further discover the other ideas as shown from the previous slides. And yeah, from Clash to Ignage, bye.
Well done, guys. Thank you so much. I just want to add one little thing for you guys, because here, we're looking at this amazing idea of putting in a wall climber in practice. And it's something very difficult to do. And like the guys here, they really took up another group project and decided to further it on to implement it. And they're showcasing here that both the sustainability of how these projects can continue from year to year in schools, but also really kind of a lot of practical ideas and considerations had to be taken into account to make this happen. So I just want to say, yeah, well done. Really, really impressed by it. We can't wait to see and follow the progress over time of your climbers, and see if you can really get them to train up. And also remembering from a rainfall and flood resilience perspective that when we have green spaces on buildings, we have the slowing down the raindrop fall rate effect as well, which helps to slow down how fast the rain is falling, giving the drains and the surfaces underneath more time to absorb it. So yeah, fantastic work. Really, really interesting example here.
Oh, that's great. And yeah, I was really impressed as well. And what I liked to hear that was that you were thinking about maintenance of your projects afterwards. That's a really important element of any of these plans that you're introducing. So thank you so much for speaking, guys. I'm going to go on to our last speaker. We have Presentation Warrenmount Secondary School. They're located in the middle of Dublin, City Liberties. Warrenmount Secondary School had a particular challenge in carrying out their ideas and spongy school investigation, but with impressive determination, willpower, and solutions-oriented thinking, these students were able to materialize their ideas. So I'm looking forward to hearing this. Okay, over to you guys.
Hello, my name's Rihanna. And I'm Ghana. And we're from Presentation Secondary School, Warrenmount.
Yeah, our school is in a very interesting neighborhood. It is a very old part of Dublin, and it's going through a lot of changes. It's in a residential area with lots of facilities for the community. Recent developments include the construction of whiskey distilleries, hotels, and student accommodations. In the terms of biodiversity, we are close to the River Liffey, and the River Poddle flows underneath our school grounds. This could be a problem in the future if flooding due to heavy rain occurs. Nearby green spaces include St. Patrick's Park, Weavers Park, and Oscar Square. One of our aims is to future-proof our school for the effects of climate change.
How do we get involved? As part of the Green Team, we got involved by hearing about the Spongy Schools project from our geography teachers. We and 19 other schools took part in this project. We recorded rainfall and pH using the Globe Precipitation Protocol daily for 2 weeks, and in the third week, developed school solution suggestions in creative ways. Following the 3-week observation and planning period, we were encouraged to try implement our Spongy School proposals.
Firstly, we put out a rain gauge in a very clear open place, specially chosen to get the best result. Then we recorded the rainfall each day at 1:30. Then we went around the school to check for any puddles. We marked it on our school aerial photograph. Then we started on the 1st of the 1st, 2023, and we finished on the 21st of the 1st, 2023. We carried out the study for 20 days. And this is the location of our school in latitude and longitude.
This is the rainfall observation for our school. As you can see, the most rainfall was recorded on the 16th, and the least was the days after. What we discovered, rainfall. So far, we found out that the amount of rainfall this year appears to be higher than the year before. We know from geography class that climate change is creating more extreme weather conditions around the world, such as drought, melting ice caps, rising sea levels. In our school, we have very little green space, and as we know from geography, soil and plants absorb water. Unfortunately, since we're such an inner city school, we have no green space at all. So we're very limited with what we can do, and so we are facing many challenges most of the schools have mentioned. But with that, we have some implementations we've come up with so far.
As you can see, we have a pocket forest, and we have art installations to just make it that little bit prettier. And it also helps the rainfall around the school with like many other plants that will absorb the water that falls around the school. So we also have went to a Trinity workshop and design thinking. So what was involved? We went to Trinity for a day along with other schools to present our project on how we would implement our nature-based solutions. We chose to add in a mini pond and planters. We were also shown how Trinity has implemented some nature-based solutions such as ponds.
In that previous photo, sorry, you can see the pond. Trinity has 2 ponds. This was the exposed one. It had like algae and many plants around it and little lilies inside. And then in the other one, it was covered just to like show the difference between the 2 ponds. So that was very interesting to learn about in the Trinity workshop. How we chose our nature-based solutions. As I mentioned before, being an inner city school, our space is very limited. We have upcoming building work near one of our student entrances, and hence why our options are limited. We chose to place our planters near the main entrance of our school going down the hill. In our previous study, we said the rain was going down the slope, hence why we placed our planters on either side to collect rainfall. For our mini ponds, we placed them near the entrance that connects our secondary school to the primary school.
Implementations. We have implemented our nature-based solutions by building planters and pocket forests. We even have 3 mini ponds in our school. We have also planted herbs such as oregano, thyme, and catmint.
Our future plans. We wish to expand our biodiversity by including a variety of plants in our planters and our ponds. Different flower sizes, shapes, and colors, and as well as varying plant heights and growth habits, support a greater number and diversity of pollinators. We plan to include a combination of native plant species, heirloom plants, and herbs in our pollinator garden. As you can see from this picture, there is a bee monitor near our pocket forest, and we are a part of a bee study connected to the pocket forests.
So our upkeep at the moment, the planters are cared for by the greens team, our geography teachers, and the caretaker. This continues through the school year. They are very busy areas used by students at break time and lunchtime, so they can create a pleasant space for us to enjoy, and we can easily keep an eye on them if there are any maintenance issues. Sustainability. These are small and movable. These are small and movable, so they can be moved if necessary due to building works or any other problems that they will have to be moved for. They do not take up too much space, so they should last for future generations. The plants we have chosen are hardy and do not require much maintenance, and will not interfere with the structure of our school.
Now, these are challenges for the audience, such as LAWPRO and Globe Ireland. We can provide a location, labor, energy, and enthusiasm, but what can you do for us? In the sense that we have all the information to implement our nature-based solutions, but the funding and where would the funding and other resources come from? Such like, since we are a very school that's very limited with their space. So we would ask, could you of our solution, and we look forward from hearing the answers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. I love that you had a challenge at the end for all of us, and it did cut out a little bit, but I got your gist. And I would definitely say to link in with Maya, and there's opportunities to link in with LAWPRO there as well, and see what supports we've made. So I love that you've put that to us, and you know, that's definitely something that we can link in on. And I think it's fantastic that you adapted your ideas to your actual environment. So, you know, that's really important. Like Fran was saying, the right action in the right place. So well done, guys. I know we went over by a few minutes, and I can see that we have nearly everybody has still stayed for this. So thank you so much, everyone, for speaking. We'll just have like a minute. If anyone needs to leave, that's fine, but we just have a minute for questions. Does anybody have any questions for the schools that are here today? Is there anything in the chats, Cathal?
Nothing in the chat here, Ruth, but if anybody has any burning questions, as Ruth said, feel free to ask.
Oh, I think Basil has a raised hand there. Basil, do you want to ask a question?
I do, Ruth. Yeah, firstly, congratulations to everyone. That was really, really enjoyable experience, and obviously a huge amount of work put in. And it's great from the point of view of LAWPRO staff and myself as senior community water officer and all the CWOs to see that amount of effort being reciprocated. I suppose we're trying hard to work with communities to get that message out there, and it's really heartening to see that message being taken on board by the participants today. And the one question that came there at the end in relation to what help we can give in LAWPRO, definitely I would be saying to all schools to reach out to your local communities, and by working through the community with LAWPRO, we can certainly provide the expert assistance, we can provide the funding through the community, linking in with the schools. That's definitely an outlet for us going forward. So I would highly encourage the schools to look outside their gates and see what sort of community groups are working in their area, and work with them and link in with them, and we can link in with LAWPRO as well and do greater things than even are already being done. So thanks, and well done to everybody.
Thanks, Basil. I'm sure they'll all be taking that on board and reaching out into their communities. Does anyone else have any other questions? Oh, I think Fran, I see a hand up, and maybe Cal, if there's questions in the chat, you can read them out in a minute. So Fran, what was your question?
Ruth, yes, I love the challenge at the end, girls. Fair play to you. We're good to keep us on our toes. And as Basil said, look, yeah, we work with the Globe Ireland. We do that community stuff that Basil talked about, and of course, it's important that we understand that we are all part of a community. And I know you guys talk to your families and that when you after school. So it's important to share these learnings and that So put pressure on. Well, let's rephrase that. Bring awareness to local politicians and other people who may not appreciate things as much as we are. And we live on a global planet. There's only one planet, as we know this, so it's important that we look after it for everybody right across the globe, not just for ourselves here in Ireland. So look, we'll work with you. Maybe Maya would get some questions around that, the questions at the end in terms of the examples and stuff. And look, this is new for us. We're all learning. I learned some stuff here today. Those climbers, I didn't realize that you have to be careful about which climbers you use. They might destroy your the brickwork. So these are great little tips that we're learning as well along the way. So it's fantastic to see all that and to see how the temperature monitoring stuff is going on as well. So yeah, I just want to say, but from our point of view, well done all you guys. We're learning too. So what's the expression? Every day is a school day, yeah. So yeah, nice one.
Thanks so much, Fran. And I can see we have, and it's not Emer, but I can see, is it Kalash to Ignod? Do you have a question would you like to ask?
Yeah, just for next year when we're going to go back into the implementation of our ponds, we'd like to ask for anyone who's had previous experience with the ponds, what materials they use, what plants work best, how do they maintain the water levels from going over, going under, and what do they do to maintain the temperature of the ponds as so the organisms in the pond didn't die?
That's a really good question. And we're definitely going to try to link you guys in with some of the experienced pond implementers in the group here today. We both have the presentation Warren Mount students and the Art School of Mars students who have lots of expertise now in doing this. And then we have some lovely pond implementing posters and guidance from the Antoshka that we can send to you guys as well. Something that really is exciting for all these groups and all you guys is that you've not just done one study and implemented one idea, but then you've gone on to create new ideas and more ways that you can put in new little, mini nature-based solutions on school grounds. So I think it just shows how this snowballs and becomes, something much bigger and takes on its own life. And the fact that you guys, for example, you're in third year, so you're going into TY next year, you're really going to take on your pond project. It's very inspirational to see. So we definitely can't wait to have you guys back as well, sharing your ideas with us next year.
Thanks, Maya. So you can see there, she can help link us up with the other schools to get advice. And I don't know, Cathal, if there's a question in the chat box, but I had a question. Can I go? Is there a question there, Cathal? You can go before me if there's
one question in the chat box. So it was interested in the clematis and wisteria and was wondering, does it take long to grow? So that is.
So guys, do you know about your clematis? Does it take long to grow?
It will take around 2 years to fully establish, considering maintenance and everything.
Yeah, we put it in a planter box, so a pretty big planter box, so it should provide enough space for the roots to spread and grow nicely. It's already starting to grow anyways. We planted it about 3 weeks ago, and we could already see a bit of growth around the lines around the hooks. So yeah.
Brilliant. So we can look forward to hearing how it gets on next year if it's still doing well in the same pot. And I suppose I had a question. It kind of is for all of you guys. If there's anybody who's willing to answer it, just what did you feel was maybe the most challenging part of your project, and how did you overcome that? Because I know there are community groups here who would be, interested in what challenges you faced and how you overcame it. Do we have any takers from the schools?
Maybe we can give it to each of them if we want to start with Rockford Manor really quickly, if you want to share, and then we can go to, yeah.
Anyone in Rockford willing to share their advice with us?
Yes.
Hi guys, how are you doing? We just have Maddie here. The others had to go back to class, unfortunately, but they were here till a couple of minutes ago. So in terms of challenges, I think I suppose the logistics of everything. I know the girls, remember you dug the hole for the micro pond, and it's just that obviously takes time, and getting kind of I suppose all of the materials together and getting the plan together. Like I suppose it's keeping going with the project in order to actually get it done. Because I'm sure every school and students and teachers were all busy like doing other things, so you can kind of be pulled in many directions. So I think sometimes it's just keeping the project kind of on the road and finishing it can be a challenge, but it's ultimately very rewarding as well. Do you like to add anything, Maddie? So
how did you keep yourselves motivated to continue the project?
Well, we were getting like a lot of positive feedback from like the students in our school, so we're really glad to hear that, and that really encouraged us.
Okay,
Absolutely.
great.
Yeah.
Loads of positive feedback then. We'll make sure to.
It does. It always helps.
Yeah. Great. Thanks, guys. And who's the next? St. Vincent's. Did anybody there
No, they
want
had
to
to leave,
share?
unfortunately. But we might
No worries.
instead go on to Art School Namara if the girls are still here. Yes, they are still here.
Hi.
So what were your
I think one of the biggest challenges was kind of like starting everything and just like as she said as well, the motivation and just getting everything on board is just kind of the most challenging thing. Like, you know, some days people don't listen, but it's just all about kind of being all in for it. I think it's the most challenging thing.
You have to really commit to it, we feel
Yeah.
like, if you want to get something done.
And how did you guys stay motivated? Any advice on how you can keep motivated?
Force yourself.
Oh, probably just not only for yourself, but just kind of like, oh, just seeing the progress we've made just makes us not want to like stop. Just
be
it's a
proud of
journey.
what you did.
Yeah.
Mentality as well, like getting with mission, all that.
Yeah.
Like it gives peace, you know, and quiet.
Oh, great. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.
And do we have, Kalashta, Ignad, do you have any advice for us there?
So yeah, I think our probably our biggest issue was when we have an idea and we, try to convert it into something in reality. Like it takes money and time, and also permission. Like we have had to go get a few permissions from various higher authorities, like our principal, to be able to nail the hooks on the walls. And we also had to ask the Joe the caretaker to be able to hammer the hooks onto the walls, and to get to transport like the big heavy pot around. And it's nice to have an idea and be able to do it on your own, but you can't really do it on your own. You have to ask. You need help from other people.
Yeah.
And what kept us really motivated is just a general idea. We're kind of materialistic sometimes, and we kind of have this image of what the climbers would look like on the wall. And it's just a nice image, and
So the end result is keeping you guys going. You can picture the end result. And I can definitely, a lot of community groups I think would agree with you. Getting permissions for their works is a big thing. So that's great that you guys were able to get the permission that you needed. So
I just
thanks
want
so
to
much for
say
your
there as
feedback,
well
guys.
that you're really showcasing. I mean, this is the same challenges that you see local authorities and community groups having in implementing these things. So, I mean, it's a really, really in practice learning that you're having here. And just a thought for your wall climber to keep that image motivated in not just your mind, but all the schools in your or students in your school's mind. Maybe get a picture, a drawing like you had of what you'd like it to look like, and see if you could place that in front of that wall to show this is what we'd like this to become. It's also a way to kind of ensure that buy-in for your students and say, we want our school to be this, and this is, visually there for everybody to walk by and see and commit to year after year when those climbers continue their way up the wall. So yeah, that was really interesting.
And maybe just a few words from Warren Mount, and then we'll close the meeting. Is Warren Mount still here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a few words?
I think the hardest thing that we had to go through would probably be our time management to get everything done before the end of the year, with the struggles of exams coming up and different events in the school, and still being able to balance everything out. I think that was the hardest thing we went through.
Also with commitment, so because like once you start something, you're kind of like fully into it, and then you just kind of lose the motivation to continue doing it. But after seeing the end results, you're kind of like, okay, I kind of still want to continue and see how far you can go. So it was like, wait, don't stop yet, continue on. So yeah.
Oh, that's great. So the end result seems to be, keeping that in mind, seems to be a great motivator for everyone. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
So I think we have gone over by a few minutes, but I just thought it was so valuable to hear your feedback and to hear all of your presenting. So thank you so much for sharing the information on your projects and getting your insight. And thank you so much, Maya, for speaking today. And unfortunately Fran had to leave, but we really appreciate him attending as well. So I think we'll close it there. And thank you so much. Okay, have a lovely day, guys.
Well done. Thanks for
Yeah.
your
Thank
time.
you.
And good luck on your
Thank you.
exams. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness,
good
good luck.